What is happening, AJ Gaming Dude here, and I am going to be talking about how the PlayStation brand is going to be going into a new era completely with the leaving of Jim Ryan, because every CEO at PlayStation has had their own sort of brand, their own spin on things that have happened over the years. And while for the business side, it does make sense that Jim Ryan did well. From the consumer's perspective, he seems to have quite literally done the worst, whether it comes to things like the ban or censorship of sort of more Japanese suggestive sexual material and things like that, to just outright, the way in which the consoles are currently being handled in terms of moving into a more digital space, the potential closure of the PS3 store, and other, bits and pieces like that. So I don't think Jim Ryan will be looked at particularly fondly, especially during his era of PlayStation. But it'll be interesting to see where things go from here, because they're still looking for his replacement. And as of right now, Totoki is going to be taking the spotlight and actually, being more hands-on with PlayStation. And there were a couple of things he said that are worth worrying about a little bit. But more specifically, he said that in February, during a Q&A session, following Sony's latest financial results, Totoki said he wants Sony to be aggressive when it comes to improving its gaming division profit margins, and when he says can partly be achieved with a greater focus on bringing first-party games to PC. Now that's good. Accidentally clicked. But yeah, no, that's good to see that they're bringing sort of, more games to PC and things like that. Though it does kind of make me worry a little bit in regards to microtransactions, season passes, and it does very much still seem like Sony is going down the path of creating more live services, even though that's not looking particularly good, especially with what's happening with Bungie in regards to Destiny 2. Completely flopping and flailing and quite literally failing as we speak. So that's actually one way of being able to kind of like look at things. Seemingly making games go multi-platform is kind of the plan at the moment from the Sony side. However, it's clear that because he clarified PC, he is wanting to say it's not coming to Xbox, and that's kind of one of the main competitors, of course. And I mean, Xbox games have now come over to the PlayStation side. More specifically, as of right now, we do have Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush. And Hi-Fi Rush, very fun. Would I have played it if it never came to PlayStation? No, I would never have done so. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting to see what's going on there, and just a little bit more on like the whole thing with Bungie, because Bungie has been under fire from Sony for quite some time, and it feels like Sony might actually end up taking over Bungie's whole studio because they weren't able to manage their timelines accordingly, is what the information is coming out. I'm not too sure if that is the exact reasoning, but also the quality of the content has dropped from the community perspective, from what I've been seeing on sort of Reddit posts and things like that. The general community sentiment does seem to be at an all-time low as well, and I can kind of see the same thing with the PlayStation side. But the thing is that it's kind of all embarrassing to say, especially when you look at something like Microsoft, who is being sold out 2-1 in favor of PlayStation, that consoles are being sold significantly more to more of Sony's consoles are being sold rather than Microsoft's. And that's kind of, sad to hear that, I'm talking about all of the negative stuff around Sony, but even then, they're still doing a buttload better than what Xbox ever could be, honestly. And that's kind of interesting to hear and really see. So I do genuinely wonder what is going to happen, because there have also been rumors of fractures between North America Sony, European Sony, and Japan Sony. And so having all of these different parts of Sony and the European side of Sony wanting to kind of climb that bar more than the other parts of Sony, it feels like there's some sort of arm race going on there. But again, this is based off of rumors from, I want to say, a year to year and a half ago, somewhere in between there. And it's interesting to see that that's kind of, you know, where we were at that time. But with now Totoki taking over, specifically being in Japan, I wonder what he's going to do to change things up. And I wonder who that next CEO is going to be that will be working with all of these people, including Hiroki Totoki and other people of the like, while seeing what that new generation of Sony looks like. And I'm hoping that it is better, but there's always a chance that things can be worse, and that's always been the really scary part about transitioning from CEO to CEO. During the time Phil Spencer was around, we actually had 3 CEOs on the Sony side, and you can kind of see where each of those 3 kind of were in the zeitgeist of not just the business side, but also on the community side. And while Jim Ryan was good on the business side, he was god awful on the consumer perspective. But we'll have to see how things go moving forward. Fingers crossed that things are better than before. But in saying that, who knows what'll happen until it actually does happen. Though with all that said and done, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 200 subs by the end of the year. Comment below on anything that I've talked about. You know, who is your favorite Sony CEO in terms of what they've done, and in fact mention what it is, because for me it will always be PSX or the PlayStation experience. That was always one of the best things that was done on the PlayStation side, whether it be the launch of the PS4 and things like that. Like, it's all of that stuff that I personally miss. Because every time I go to the PlayStation store, I always sort the games from oldest to newest, and all of the games that are the oldest are all of those sort of like launch PS4 titles, and I'll just go back and like maybe download like, you know, Contrast, Sound Shapes, Flower, and just kind of replay those games sometimes. I do miss Sony of old, and I don't know if they'll ever come back, because ever since the launch of the PS5, it very much feels like Sony has been going down the Apple route of like, we are trying to be more of a luxury company in the space rather than the pittance of the poor man or something like that. That sucks and it's unfortunate to see, but let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below, or just anything else that I've mentioned. And I do want my videos to go to more people, of course, but with all this said and done, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.